it is so dangerous. Really, if you kind of get underneath the covers, what is kind of the attack chain that people go through to drive a spear phishing attack? Certainly, number one, what's different about a generic phish inside of email that's more of a spray and pray. These are well crafted, very targeted, specific to a user. So the first aspect starts with obviously crafting a particular attack for a targeted user or group of users. And they'll typically source data from either LinkedIn, dark web, other personal and behavior information that gets very specific about you as the user. And that is key to the success, because if I can target you as a user, it's much more successful than if I'm getting back to the spray and pray aspect. Third, it is meticulously crafted and as a quote bait for the user. And one thing has changed is this is not just an email-borne problem. You actually may see the initiation of a spear phish starting in LinkedIn, and then there's a crossover into sometimes text and sometimes other communication channels, and then ultimately it can be a delivery mechanism in email. So they're multifaceted, multi-pronged kind of staging to get to you as a user, to get you to do something. Fourth, obviously, the ultimate goal is to compromise you, to get you to either partake and give your account name, user password, or to get you to download particular software, what we would call rogueware, and then ultimately act on that. And then obviously once that account is compromised, the sky's the limit, right? This is why you'll see, whether it's Gartner or others, we'll talk about 95% of all successful breaches start with a spear phish. And again, what is very fundamentally different today's world versus before, where you have this it's a very targeted spear phish world today, whereas before, as I noted, it was a spray and pray approach. And what I mean by spray and pray is I would create one attack, spray it out to about 1 million users, and then see what success you may have. Again, these are very specifically targeted to you as a specific user or high value target, again, to get you to do something. Now there's different, I'd say, other aspects that perhaps make these more dangerous than before as well. Number one, as we note here, you can go to GitHub, get a kit, effectively a spear phishing kit for $100 or $500. You can use automation to then launch those targeted attacks. As I mentioned, there's very sophisticated research that happens. I get your full LinkedIn profile. I get dark web information. I know who you report to, who your customers are, who your family is. So it makes it more of a personal association with you as opposed to, again, that generic spray and pray. There's a few other things that are also, I think, fundamentally important here. The same bad actors have the same tools that we as companies have available to us in public cloud resources, low-cost computing, as I mentioned, automation. And if you think about perhaps the most dangerous aspect is think of all the free services out there in what we call legitimate hosted infrastructure. So you have effectively services that you can take advantage of inside of Google, inside of Microsoft, inside of Box, Dropbox, many other, quote, trusted sites. And because of that, these bad actors can now nest themselves deep inside of these services and launch these attacks. And so any tool that you have out there that uses a trusted domain or reputation score will simply miss these spear phishes. So it's no longer good enough to say, hey, I can train users to look for a bad domain, because that bad domain is going to actually look like www.google.com///. It's that /next area, which is where that deep phishing attack lies.